So today I'm going to be making a title block B. We already did this in class together, but for those of you that are not remembering how to do it or you lost your title block, this is how you will do it. Obviously, you can make different title blocks for different paper sizes. This is going to be for an 8.5 by 11 page size, which is our standard page size. For our granny flat project, you'll actually need a larger title block, so you could scale this one up, or you can just draw a larger layout for what I'm doing right now. This is the instructions right here. It starts off by you have to make your logo first. So I in CAD already drew my logo. This is my logo. We have CDB and a little cube here. You want to make this in its completely own drawing. The logo is completely separate. I titled it cube. I'm saving it. It's saved to my H drive. From there, after you've drawn your logo, you're going to open up a completely new drawing, right? So drawing 4 is what I have open right now. After I've created my new drawing, I'm now going to draw all these dimensions. I'm going to leave this off on my other computer screen so you guys don't see it. But the first dimension it says is to draw a rectangle. So I'm going to start by typing REC. And I'm going to start that at 0, 0. It's important that you start at 0, 0, so when you enter in this title block into all your other drawings, you can just type in 0, 0 right away to draw this. Right now, you can see those numbers that are changing on the screen when I expand and decrease the rectangle. I want this rectangle to be a, let's see what it is, a 10.5, right? So in the X direction, 10.5. In the Y direction, it's going to be an 8-foot tall rectangle. So I'm going to type in 10.5, comma 8. I have my rectangle in here now. Inside this rectangle, it then says we have a few other rectangles that we're going to be drawing. There's a 1 by 1 rectangle that starts at 0, 0. So I'm going to type in REC again, and type in 0, 0 again. And then I'm going to type in, actually, I'll just do this. I'll do a 10.5, comma 1 foot rectangle now. So that's that entire bottom spot. And then from there, I'm going to draw a bunch of lines at different lengths out. So I could start, actually, no, I think I'll keep doing rectangles. So then I'll do rectangle again. I'll do 0, 0 again. And then this one's going to be a width, right? So X direction 1. And then height 1. So there's my second line there. This is where my logo is going to go, inside here. From there, I have another rectangle that is a 1 by 3 rectangle. So I can actually type in REC again, and instead of typing 0, 0, I'm just going to have my object snaps on, right? So F3. I'm going to select where that last rectangle ended, and then I'm just going to type in 3 for the width and 1 for the height. And then it just drew, that's where you're going to put your name and then the title of the project, right? And then the next rectangle starts where that one ends off, and this one is 4 by 1. So I'm going to type in 4, 1. And then the final rectangle I need to do is a 2 by 1 rectangle. So I'll type in REC again, start where I left off, and then I'm going to do 2, 1. And then there's all my base rectangles. These two on the sides, they have lines drawn at the midpoints of them. So I can actually, in my object snaps, I can have midpoint selected, which I already do. I'll type in L for midpoint, or for line. Then I'll select the midpoint of that rectangle and go across. And then I'll do L again. I'll select the midpoint of that other rectangle and go across. Like that. Now, if you look back at my instructions here, you'll see that I have a bunch of text written in here. The first text I'm going to do is the title text. Or actually, I'll do my name first. This, of course, is going to be your name, not my name. So I'm going to do mtext as my text command. I'm going to select in here and draw a rectangle across. And then I'm going to type in Miss Burkhart. Obviously, you would write your name. not Miss Burkhart. And then the location of this text can kind of just be a estimation of where the middle is. I don't expect you to actually put it in the middle unless you want to be exact. Then you can put it in the middle. That wouldn't be that hard to do if you really wanted to. I could find out where the middle is by doing this. I could draw a line at the midpoint of this rectangle, and I could go down like this, right? And then I can make sure that little triangle that I drew is at the center. So I could do M, or I could just move it over, right? Until that triangle is at the middle. But you don't have to be that exact, as long as it looks like it's in the middle. I'll do that though, that is the middle. And then the next part of that, let's see, down here. Then I have title down here, right? So I'm going to type in M text again, or I can just literally copy this text so it's always in the middle. I can do Control-Shift-C, and that allows me, actually I'll do the actual copy command. When you type in copy, it allows you to select where you want to copy from. So I'm going to select the top of that rectangle, and now I can go in here, and they can always be the middle. Except that's a rectangle, it's a different size for these two at least. Now this one's going to say title. And I'm not actually going to put a title in there because that's going to change. We're just making a block right now. The title will be constantly changing. Obviously your name won't change, and your logo is not going to change when we insert the logo in. And then the other two bottom texts there on the right, we have date, and that's why I put those pound signs or the hashtag signs for different numbers, because the date will change, right, depending on the project. And then the period number, your period number won't change, but I'm going to put it as just a number sign because I don't have a set period. So again, I'm going to go back to my drawing, type in M text again. I'm going to do date. Ooh. And this one I'm going to do the pound symbol, right? Year, year, month, month, day, day. All of that will change, especially next semester when the year changes. And then from there, I'll do kind of what I did last time where I selected the middle of that to make it center. And I will move this over so that the triangle is in the middle. Again, I don't expect you to be extremely exact. Oop. When you have your object snaps on like that, it will snap to whatever's closest, but I obviously don't want that. Sorry guys. So I'll move this over. That's pretty exact. Now I'm going to do I'm going to do copy again. I'm going to select the top of that rectangle so that I can just easily paste it down below. And then this bottom one isn't going to be text. It's going to be, let's see, it's going to be the period number. So I'll go back in here. And I'm going to type in period. And then if you were like in period 1, you'd write a 1 here, but I'm just going to write the number sign. And then for this, I'm going to make this a little smaller, and I'll center this one as well. And now I'm going to delete these little middle lines because we don't need those. I'm going to do M text again. Now this time I'm going to do M text from the top to the bottom of this rectangle. And this time I'm going to type in C, D, B. Obviously that's my initials. You guys should do your own initials. And then I'm going to do the center of this one too. I actually don't have a center drawn for this. I'll move this to be on the center or semi-center. Delete that one. And all of the M text that I just drew, oh wait, we have one more M text actually. All of those M text though, should be under their own text layer. So this last one, I'm going to move this over here, but it's just the school's address, right? So normally in other engineering companies, you would write who you're working for, what engineering company you're working for. Obviously, you guys are not working for an engineering company, so I'm going to write the address of the school, Department of Engineering. You could write Idea Academy, I guess, 9531, and then you'd write the address of whatever company you're working for. So obviously ours is just the school's address, but one and the same. Now you see how this text doesn't fit inside this box? Well, I'm going to do Control A, and then I'm going to make all this text up here on my mText layer. You can see that number up there. I can change that number, so I'll probably make it 0.08. Oh, that's way too small. I'll try 1. No, 0.1. Yeah, so 0.15 seems to be about right. And then I'm going to make it so it's centered, like that. I can move this down a little bit if I want, up to me. And then from there, the only thing we're missing now is our logo. Okay, well, actually, I'm going to make a text layer real fast. So I'll click New. I'll do Text. I'm going to make this text layer blue. And now when I go in here, all these lines are going to be under, I'm going to right click properties. I'm going to change them from the 0 layer to the text layer. And you can see how they all changed to blue from there. And then the final part of this is the logo. So we will insert in our logo. And it says that our logo should have 3 different colors. So if you look at my logo, there's 3 different colors there: purple, green, pink. It says use black. Obviously I didn't do that, so don't listen to me. But this cube should be black, right? The outline of my cube. Your logo can look like anything. I chose to make it a cube. And it says use a hatch. And so this little like green looking text, that's a hatch. I used a hatch for that. I chose what pattern I wanted down here, right? I can scroll through all these, choose a pattern, and then I can also, I'll keep this by layer and I put it on its own layers, right? So if I went and selected this cube and my logo, right, and I did Control C, and then I went into my drawing and did Control V, this is not going to fit inside that small logo space, and that's totally fine. It doesn't have to. I will put it over here. I will select all, and then I will type in the command scale, and now I can scale down my logo to fit inside that small little rectangle. If I want it to be bigger, I can do that too. Again, I'll select it, I'll type in scale again, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. And I want mine to be a little more centered, so I'm going to select all, type in M again for move, and I'll just slightly move it over. And then there is my title block, has my logo, has all my text, and my text is changeable, right? And then the final part of this is now I need to make this a block. Now the way you make things a block, and actually let me say one more thing. After I inserted in my logo, right, you now see that these random layers have appeared that I have created in my logo layers, in my logo drawing, right? So these layers are in here, but when we go in here, now there's more layers that have been created, right? The next layer I need to create actually is a no plot layer, so I'm going to do that now. And remember, that just means I turned the printer off on that layer. So anything I put on that layer will not print. So my viewport, I'll put on that layer. And then after that, I'm now going to make it a block. I will do that by selecting everything I drew. Oh, actually, sorry, one more thing, guys. So this white layer that's on the 0 layer, I need to actually put that on its own layer. So I'm going to create one more layer, and I'll just call this outline maybe. For the outline of my layer, I want this to print, so I'm going to make sure the printer's on. So now I have an outline layer too. So I'm going to select those white lines that I drew. I'll do select similar. They can stay white, but they should just not be on the 0 layer. Nothing should ever be on the 0 layer. So I'll put that under outline. These I also need to put under outline, right? And nothing changes physically, it all looks the same, but it is not under the 0 layer. Okay, so now I'm going to select everything. I'm going to go up to Insert. Then when you click on the Insert tab up here, you'll see it says Create Block. I'll click that down. I'll click on Create Block. This window will pop up. I'm going to call this block Title Block B. You can call it like a logo title block if you want also. And then I'm going to keep these settings as is, but I'm going to click on Scale Uniformly. That will allow, and I'll keep Allow Exploding on. That will allow me to scale it to whatever page I insert it into, or at least it should. And then I can click on Specify on Screen, right? The base point. Actually, I'll leave it at 0, 0. I'll let it pick up that point. And then I'll click Convert to Block. And then the description here, you could write like this is a title block with a logo. But really, that's up to you. The whole reason you have a description is because your block itself can only be a couple letters, right? You can only have a few characters in the name. So if you want to do something more specific, you would just title it whatever, and then in the description, you would write what it is. I'll click OK. Now when I go in and select that block, you'll see that it's physically, right? It is physically a block. It's a one item when I select it. So now I'm going to click on Save As. Let me move the picture. Click up here on the red icon, click Save As, and I'm going to put this in its own layer, or this own folder. I'll call this one, I'll make a folder called Blocks. Then I'll click into this Blocks folder, and I'm going to call this Title Block B. Now, if you haven't done this assignment yet, which you should have, but if you have not, or if you got marked down and you want to resubmit it, the reason I would mark you down is because you just submitted this, or you just submitted something that looks like this, right? Which I don't want, okay? So what you actually need to do now, after I've saved that as its folder, I'm going to exit out of this folder, or that file, and I'm going to go back into the file that just has my logo in it. I'll go to layout 1 of that. Let me exit out these tabs. And you can see now that there's my logo as a large version of my logo. And I'm going to practice inserting in a block. So I'm going to go back up to the Insert tab. I'm going to click on Insert, Blocks from Libraries. This little window should pop up now. And I'm going to go into Browse Block Libraries up here. Right? I'm going to find where I saved my title block. After I found where I saved it, I'm going to click Open. And you'll see in this window, things will refresh. Don't click on this first one right here, right? I want you to click on the actual block you created, which is titled Title Block B, which is what I titled it, right? So I'll go ahead and click on that. And when I bring it in, like this, it is the correct size. I'm now going to type in 0, 0. And you'll see that it actually lines up with those dashed lines quite well. And the last thing you need to do is you need to click on that M view, or that viewport we created. See that little square in the middle? That will allow you to move the viewport. So I'm going to move it up so it's more centrally located. And then the final part of this is you want to make sure that that viewport is actually on a no plot layer, which mine is, but I'll show you how I did that. In my properties right here, I changed it from 0 to no plot. And that was just a layer I created. So I go to my layer properties. You'll see right here, I have one that's called no plot, and it's on the no plot layer. That means it's not going to print, the printer is off. Okay, and then that is our final title block, right? But the last thing we need to do is edit this title block so that it lines up, right? I would be submitting this as my logo drawing. So I will click on my title block, I will right click on it, I will click on Block Editor. In Block Editor, now I can click on the date. I can change the date to the correct date. So our date today is 12/6/23. And then the title of this assignment is either logo or title block, or logo and title block. And then when I click close block editor, it will ask me, do I want to save the changes I made? This will just change it in the drawing that I've inserted into. It will not actually change that template that I created. So I'll click save changes. And now when you look at my drawing, everything is correct, except for obviously I don't have a period, but you guys would put your period in there. And then I can Control S, I can save this drawing. I can type in plot. When I type in plot, this window pops up. I'll change it to DWG to PDF, right? Because this is a DWG. And then I will make sure it's on 8.5 by 11, or I can just choose, actually it doesn't allow me to do that. No, that should be good. And then from there, I'll just click OK. And I'll save this again in my H drive. I'm going to call this cube drawing. What you guys would do is year, month, day, first initial, last name, title of assignment, which is cube. I'll click save. And then when I click save, what pops up is my title block with my logo in the middle. And this is what I would submit for that assignment. And that is it.